Today Axel and I are going to share the worst hit songs of the 1990s based on several different polls and our own views. The 90s were a strange decade to be sure, and gave us some equally strange music. Today, Axel and I are going to count down the songs we feel represent the worst of 90s music, based on several worst of lists mentioned in the show's credits. Axel, you start.
I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love, love's going to leave.
Right, said Fred. I'm too sexy. Supermodels were so big in the 1990s that Cindy Crawford was allowed to star in a major Hollywood movie, and Naomi Campbell, Elle Macpherson, Claudia Schiffer, and Christy Turlington opened a chain of restaurants. Sure, Fair Game is a wretched movie, and the Fashion Cafe imploded almost as fast as Britney Spears' restaurant Nyla, but these people were still getting awfully big egos. British pop duo Right, said Fred poked fun at the model's supreme sense of self-worth with their 1991 mega hit, I'm Too Sexy. The song was funny the 10 times you heard it, but then it just wouldn't go away.
You ready to let the dogs out?
What?
Do what? Let the dogs out. You know, like, who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Baha Men, Who Let the Dogs Out? This didn't actually come out until the summer of 2000, but if Bill Clinton was president and no one had ever heard of a hanging Chad, we're still counting it as the 1990s. Who Let the Dogs Out was also originally recorded by Anselm Douglas in 1998. 2 years later, it was covered by Bahamian band the Baha Men, and the song quickly became a worldwide hit. The Seattle Mariners began playing it in the summer of 2000, and countless stadiums across the world have continued to practice to it.
Who let the dogs out? Who?
In January of 2008, presidential candidate Mitt Romney broke into a spontaneous rendition of the song at a Martin Luther King Day parade in Florida.
Believe that the heart does go on.
Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On. Not everyone will admit it now, but back in 1997, most everybody thought Titanic was a great movie. It even won Best Picture. The soundtrack also sold about 10 trillion copies, entirely based on the astounding success of the single My Heart Will Go On. Celine Dion's song and the movie have aged very poorly, but if you were a 13-year-old girl in 1997, odds are very high this song made you cry your eyes out. Now it probably just makes you cringe. Hanson, M-Bop. Hanson's 1997 hit M-Bop was the big bang of the late 1990s teen pop revival. It was all over radio long before anybody had ever heard of NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, or even, at least in America, the Spice Girls. The song was the debut single from Hanson, a trio of brothers from Oklahoma who had been performing together since they were very young children. Before they knew it, the boys were being mobbed at shopping malls and leaving groups of crying girls everywhere they went. Many see Hanson as a one-hit wonder band, but their fan base has remained incredibly loyal and they continue to play big shows. They even still play M-Bop, though one imagines that isn't their favorite part of the show these days.
You better gain weight, you better hit bulls out, a kid don't play. If there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. Ice, ice.
Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby. Vanilla Ice was just asking for a backlash when he released Ice Ice Baby in the summer of 1990. Not only did he not give Queen any credit for the famous bass line, but he lied to reporters by telling them that he grew up in the ghetto. Also, he just really came off like a tool. Still, his album To the Extreme sold tons of copies and briefly turned Ice into a superstar. By 1992, Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre were on the scene and Vanilla Ice seemed pathetically passé. In the past few years, he's become a reality TV star and a budding real estate mogul.
Tell my heart, my achy, breaking heart, I just don't think you'd understand.
Billy Ray Cyrus, Achy Breaky Heart. Billy Ray Cyrus was just 20 years old when Achy Breaky Heart turned him into a country superstar. The song was a huge crossover hit that introduced line dancing to people all across the globe. A hit like that should have forever destroyed Billy Ray's career, but he started acting in the early 2000s, and in 2005 his daughter Miley landed the role of Hannah Montana and Billy Ray was cast as her father. He's now a TV icon to teenagers all across the country, most of whom have probably never heard Achy Breaky Heart.
Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para dar la alegría y cosas buenas. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena.
Los Del Rio, Macarena. If 1996 had to be defined by a single moment, it might be Bob Dole cracking a lame joke that he was doing the Macarena when he fell off the stage in California. The dance hit by Latin dance group Los Del Rio was inescapable that year, spending an astonishing 14 weeks at the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100. The song actually first surfaced in 1992 and was remixed many times over the next 4 years, but an English version by the Bayside Boys went nuclear in America in 1996. It also spawned a worldwide dance craze, but everybody heard that song 10,000 times that year and it's barely been played at a bar mitzvah since. Aqua, Barbie Girl. Barbie Girl, written by the Danish dance pop group Aqua, is an incredibly polarizing song. Many people were offended by the portrayal of a woman as a man's plastic doll, begging him to undress me everywhere.
Life in plastic, it's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere.
Others loved the over-the-top cartoonish video and bizarre sound of the song. Mattel, the makers of Barbie, were less than pleased that their product was being presented in such an overtly sexual way and filed a lawsuit. The courts ruled that the song was a parody and thus permissible, but Mattel took it all the way to the Supreme Court. The company had a change of heart in 2009 when they changed the lyrics and used the song in an ad campaign.
You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel.
The Bad Touch, the Bloodhound Gang. The Bloodhound Gang's Bad Touch wasn't hiding what the song was about one bit. The gang dressed up like monkeys in Paris and watch real monkeys hump each other on television. They then shoot a poison dart at some women and capture them, some bakers, and a variety of other Parisian folk in a cage. It was the Bloodhound Gang's biggest hit off their album Hooray for Boobies. We're kind of glad we only messed up once and let these guys have just one hit.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down.
Tub Thumping, Chumbawamba. Of course we had to put the Chumbawamba hit and only hit of theirs, Tub Thumping, on the list. That 90s song that you love to hate but still can't stop singing when it's on. It was a very informative song though. We did learn dancing the night away means drinking the night away in the UK, and Tub Thumper is a politician.
I like girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch. I take her if I had one wish, but she's been gone since that summer.
The #1 pick for worst song of the 90s is LFO Summer Girls. It's generally good when a song rhymes, but in their 1999 summer hit Summer Girls, which may as well be called I Like Girls Who Were Abercrombie and Fitch, three-member boy band LFO took the concept a little too far. Many of the song's lines seem to be randomly inserted just so the song will rhyme. The group sings, "You're the best girl that I ever did see," and follows it up with the line, "The great Larry Bird Jersey 33. But frontman Rich Cronin told the Boston Globe in 2005 that the song's random lines and references, including Billy Shakespeare, Paul Revere, and Spick and Span, are nothing more than inside jokes among friends. He wrote the song in his parents' basement and never expected to hear it on the radio. But the song was leaked, climbed to #3 on the Billboard charts, and became the unofficial anthem of the summer of 1999. That was our show for today. What about you? What do you think was the worst song of the 90s? Did it make our list? Let me know your least favorite song from the 90s in the comments section, and, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, share this video, and check the Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter franchise also in the comments. Until next time, this is Andrew, in for Kevin Given, saying live long and prosper, may the force be with you, and keep reaching for the stars.